Oh. So there's this YouTube channel that I'm just absolutely addicted to called Ramen Rotas that's run by this guy Geishi, who also runs a ramen shop in Shizuoka, Japan, also called Ramen Rotas. Anyways, he's been pumping out amazing videos, and one of his shop's specialties happens to be Niboshi Ramen, so I decided to use his video as reference for my first bowl of Niboshi Ramen here. Because I only have 3 people in my family and Niboshi is expensive, I'm scaling down the recipe to just 3 servings, but I'll have the quantities for 5 servings in the description. I started off weighing 90 grams of larger Niboshi and 150 grams of smaller Niboshi. In the Rotas video, he explains smaller Niboshi has more of a refined umami, while larger Niboshi has the bitterness and signature flavors of Niboshi. I also weighed out 3 grams of Konbu and 6 grams of Katsuobushi. In his video, he uses the thick cut stuff, but I can't get that, so again, using what I got. So anyways, into a pot, I added 1.5 liters of water, or about 6 cups. And then to that, I added the 2 types of Niboshi, the big and the small Niboshi. Then I added the Konbu, which I cut to size to fit into the pot, the Katsuobushi, and also about 6 grams of green onion, the green part of it. Then I got the pot onto a stove on low heat and got a probe thermometer stuck in there. You want to slowly raise the temperature of the soup to 92 degrees Celsius over 40 minutes. Basically, try to hit 92 degrees right when 40 minutes hits. Next, I'm going to make a Niboshi Aroma Oil. I'm using a blend of lard and grapeseed oil, and the only reason is because I don't want to use all my lard, but I went 50-50, 50 grams each for 100 grams total of oil and fat, and then I got that onto the stove to heat up. Once the lard had melted, I added 15 grams of the small Niboshi and fried them on low heat for about 15 minutes. The idea is to infuse the fish flavor into the oil, not cook the Niboshi itself, so keep this barely bubbling. I learned from a different video that you should taste Niboshi oil about every 5 minutes to check how infused the oil is, so that's what I kind of did here. It should have a nice nutty fishy flavor by the end, and it shouldn't really have any bitterness. Somewhere between 15 and 25 minutes at a lower heat should be good. Then just strain it out into a clean glass container when you're done. So back to the soup, the pot should be hitting 92 degrees Celsius right at around 40 minutes, and at that temp it should never have really boiled or even simmered, but once it hits 92 degrees you can strain it out. So here I am trying to strain out my soup, and I realized pretty quickly that my strainer is just way too small. I need a bigger one because when your strainer is a little bit too small, stuff like this happens, and the Niboshi just got all over the counter, but I mean luckily I didn't lose any soup, so I just kind of cleaned it up and then strained the rest of it, and the soup looked great, smelled great. And when I tasted it, the first thing I noticed was just how much umami was packed into this thing. And the second thing was it was already saltier than most soups, so the toddy requirement would be much less. So I plan to use the soup right away, but if you're not, chill it down as quickly as possible to prevent it from getting too bitter. So the soup in total took around 40 minutes, which is pretty quick. So all that's left is to put this thing together. I'm using Ramen Lord's makeshift Hakata style noodles because I find that they work out pretty good with Chintan soups too. So for the bowl itself, I went with 10 milliliters of shoyu tare from the Tori Python video I have, 10 milliliters of the Niboshi Aroma Oil, and about 300 milliliters of soup. Once the noodles are cooked, I strained them really well and then added them into the soup. Again, these are Ramen Lord's makeshift Hakata style noodles, which you can find the recipe for in his book. I'll link that in the description below. For toppings, I kept it really simple. I just topped it with Ramen Lord's roasted chashu and some green onion. And that was my first bowl of Niboshi ramen that I've ever made, and it was freaking fantastic. So to be completely honest with you guys, I've been in kind of a slump making ramen. As you all know, I'm not a professional chef or anything, and as hard as I've been trying, I haven't really been able to make something that I thought was really good for months now. This bowl, however, was amazing. Now, of course, I like the taste of Niboshi. That fishy flavor with that hint of bitterness is something that I really enjoy. So if you don't like fish, this one might not be for you, but man, it was fantastic. To me, the difference between a great bowl of ramen and something that's just okay is all of the components need to work together to make a single experience. So of course with things like Niboshi Ramen, you're gonna have the Niboshi flavor front and center, but you have like a supporting cast around it that doesn't try to fight for attention. It's almost like a well-built sports team that's kind of built around a superstar like a LeBron James on the Lakers or something. That's kind of what you need to do with ramen. That's what I feel anyway. And this ramen had that. Everything was working together to provide this one experience for the eater. So I'm not really that great at making ramen yet. I don't get these kind of bowls very often, maybe like 1 out of 10 attempts. But man, when it hits, it hits. Anyways, I'll link up the original recipe video from Ramen Rotas in the description below. He's a fantastic guy. His videos are amazing. It's really one of my favorites, so please check him out if you have time. I'll also link up Ramen Lord's book in the description. Contrary to popular belief, we are actually not the same guy. Mike is actually good at making ramen, and I'm someone who's just learning. So Mike's book is great. It's probably the best written English resource for the science of making ramen. And here's where I usually say I'll see you all in the next video, but to be honest, I'm not really sure when that will be. My family of 3 will soon be expanding to a family of 4 as my wife is due with our second child any day now. So uploads may get a little bit more sporadic, but I'll still be doing ramen research and I'll probably be doing a lot more live streaming. So hopefully when I do have time to make videos, the quality of the ramen that I'll be able to make in those videos will be a lot higher from the research, hopefully. But seriously, thank you guys all so much for watching. Thank you for all the support, for taking the time to comment, to watch, to like, and subscribe. I really do appreciate all of you guys, and I'll see you all in the next video, whenever that is. Peace.